Hey guys, I'm Deep Researcher. Today let's look at the top basic defense mistakes we make, but to some players it's a habit and they don't know how to deal with it, so we shall see the possible simple way we can eliminate them and start training good behaviors. Without any delay, let's jump in the video. When we say 1v1, pressing the ball holder where you take your defender to challenge the opponent's ball holder, but some players tend to overcommit their defenders. In these scenarios, your defender can easily be passed by just a simple skill moves, change of direction, and even your opponent can perform easy pass and move, because your defender didn't maintain his ground and was dragged out of position. So the basic way to defend one-on-one situations, you have to maintain at least 2 to 3 yards from your opponent, not too far and not too close. For more details about this, go check the jockey tutorial. So this way you can avoid easy skill moves, you realize that you have more control over your defender. As in this example, jockeying to the opponent while maintaining my ground, giving him no chance for easy skill moves, but for details you have to check the jockey tutorial, so practice and start defending like this. Some players find it difficult to press the ball holder. They don't realize that delay in player switching is the main reason. You're always one step behind your opponent. Like in this example, opponent should have switched quickly to Conte to apply pressure, but instead he stick to Van Dijk. Even here, at this moment he should have switched to Conte. He is controlling the player who is far even not aware of his near defender. Delay in play switches gives your opponent freedom, which means you're one step behind, you don't apply enough pressure and you can easily drag your defender out of position. So you have to be constantly switching to your nearest defender to press more. As you see, I use a lot of L1 switches. If I want to switch to a player who is far, then I use right stick switch, but mainly you have to switch to the player who is near your opponent's ball holder. You will see your opponent struggling because of the pressure in every angle, but remember to learn how to right stick switch to improve your defense. In every formation you use 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2, 4-2-3-1, any. You have to try keeping your players exactly how they position in the formation. Some players make a big mistake, dragging players from their original position to another. What this does, in this example, in the formation 4-2-2-2, Messi and Mbappe are the two strikers, Dembele is a winger, so he is supposed to cover the wing area, but I mistakenly dragged him out to the front two position, so forced Messi to drift to the wing to cover Dembele position for a while. Biggest problem, in this example, I pass to Messi. My opponent rushes with his defender to press me, so this creates space in behind because the player was dragged out of position. AI teammates are so sensitive to space on the pitch, so whenever they see space they run into it. So here Mbappe sees space and start running into it, but remember AI defender always mark your running players, so his AI defender tracks Mbappe and this creates more space in the middle. Talking about AI players running into space, my winger also, after seeing space, he started running to that space, forcing his fullback to track him, again creating more space on the wing. Again after Messi also started running to that space, which gave me a clear vision to create a way to pass to him and I score. But all this drama came in by just dragging one player out of position, so let's see how we can maintain our team shape. Many players maintain team shape but only focusing on the back four and the two CDMs, then they totally forget the wingers and the strikers. Every player in the team has to press whenever the ball is in his region. Take a look at these examples. Starting on the back four, here my opponent is trying to cut inside. As you see, I still have my 4 defenders available in their positions. He tries to get in but I stopped him. He saw his open player on the edge of the box. Here is where many players mess up. They continue running with their fullback to press, dragging him out of his position, as we already know the effect of that. So I saw my available defender, I switched to him, Bruno Fernandes is one of my CDMs and he's supposed to press in that region. My opponent continued passing to his striker Mbappe. I used the L1 switch and the game switched to Varane. I realized that Varane is being dragged out of position, and I still have my available CDM to press in that region. Again I press L1 and switch to Fred. My opponent tried to shoot and I blocked it. So you have to defend with all your players on the pitch, dragging your CDMs manually back to their positions. If you notice space, try to cover it immediately with your available player in that number. But what if your defense shape is broken? How you deal with it? Here my full back and my center back collide, so my full back is dragged out of position. This creates space. His AI player notice and start running into that space. I also realize it and I switched to the center back to cover that space, then I switched back to press. Again in this example, my full back is displaced, and he left a big space. I switched to my center back to temporarily cover that space, but not overcommitting to it. My opponent passed. As I was pressing him, my center back was dragged out his position, which created space. Opponent's AI teammate Mbappe realizes it and starts drifting to the space, forcing Varane to track him. As Varane follows Mbappe, he also left space. Again his AI player starts running to that space. I immediately realized it and I switched to my CDM to cover for Varane. So you have to manually cover spaces if your team shape is broken. Have you noticed that 60% of the goals you concede comes when you lose the ball in your half, and almost all players make this mistake? Here my opponent is building up. Take a look at his CDMs, they're moving forward, which means they're in attacking mode, so I win the ball in his half. Now you notice spaces left by the CDMs, his team shape is broken, he has no fullback to defend the run. I pass the through pass to my winger, get a pass to my striker, look for an extra pass and I score. So the best way to avoid this, you have to take safe passes and dribbles to avoid being punished. Then avoid taking risk passes. I rather concede a goal when my opponent has outplayed me, than giving away free goals, which is the most painful and frustrating. Even though you have good defending skills, losing the ball in your half is the biggest mistake, so eliminate this first. Every goal you concede comes from mistakes. The more you make mistakes, the more you concede. That's it for today. See you in the next one.